The Enigma 2000 monitoring community very handily designated letter and number identifiers to number stations back in the 1990s and 2000s. The famous Lincolnshire poacher, for example, was E03, E11 was given to Oblique, and the Swedish Rhapsody was given G02. There's an identifier out there, however, that belongs to an imposter, a number station that never was. Known as the Indian Man, E22 caused quite a lot of confusion in the early 2000s, and shortwave listeners actively monitored it in an attempt to find out what was really going on. First noticed in the UK in late 2005, the broadcasts, which consisted of numbers and letters read with what was suspected to be an Indian accent, was given the provisional Enigma code E26P and the nickname the Indian Man. It was commonly heard on 5040 and 17385 kHz as well as many other frequencies, and the event that sparked more desire from UK shortwave listeners to solve this mystery was singing heard on one of the frequencies on the 2nd of December 2005. The music was soon identified as a song from the Indian film Henna from 1991. Transmissions generally consisted of an operator reading two letters and a number, for example Sierra Yankee 2. Broadcasts were often filled with noises and a poor operating discipline from whoever was reading the messages.
This is Quebec Romeo 7.
The station was monitored throughout early December of 2005 with not much change except the exact letters and numbers that were being read. The Indian accent and the music from the film seemed to confirm ties to India, but in the world of number stations, this could very well have meant nothing. The link to India may have been completely false. Digging back into radio message boards revealed to the UK investigators that the broadcasts from E22 were heard further back in mid-2003 by a DXer in India. On November the 16th of 2003 at 14:30 UTC on 11/6/20, test tones were heard followed by the announcement, "This is Tango Uniform 28. The message was repeated before a sign-off at 14:37 UTC. This frequency was later noted as being used by All India Radio, a while after E22 signed off, which proved to be a pivotal moment. On December the 14th, 2005 at 7:17 UTC, on the frequency 17387, a known E22 frequency, a carrier appeared and then a listener heard an English-speaking broadcaster talking about Sri Lanka and cricket. He then handed over to his colleague who started speaking in a foreign language. E22 continued to be heard on multiple frequencies throughout mid-December of 2005, and Air India Radio was heard on many of these frequencies. It soon became obvious that these were possibly test transmissions that were linked to Air India Radio, but as is often the case with number stations, you can never quite be sure until you have a definitive answer. Emails were sent by one shortwave listener to the Spectrum Management and Synergy Division Directorate General at All India Radio on December the 16th, 2005, and it wasn't long before a response came back. He asked if E22 was from All India Radio, and the director said, "Your observation is correct." He also asked if the transmissions were from the engineers of All India Radio. The director said that these test transmissions were from AIR, but I'm not aware of the meaning of these call signs. He also said that there was no pre-planned tests and couldn't give any more information on scheduling. The director went on to confirm that the engineers sent test transmissions a number of times, making slight adjustments each time. Then they awaited receive reports on signal reception at an undisclosed receiving location.
This is X-ray November 6. X-ray November 6. X-ray November 6.
So that was E22 solved after a number of years of spurious broadcasts. This proved to be much less exciting than the number stations it was suspected to be, but it did give a thrill to those British shortwave radio investigators who spent many hours listening to, recording, and attempting to identify the Indian man.
This is Yankee Delta 6. Yankee Delta